Peace. In the cultural and historical fashion of my forefathers, allow me to salute you. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one.
Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one.
It's beautiful always hearing that back. Allow me to set the tone. Let's go to Psalms chapter 103. Bless the Lord, O my soul. Bless the Lord, O my soul. And all that is within me, bless his holy name. Bless the Lord, my soul, and forget not all his benefits. Who forgiveth all thine iniquities, who healeth all thy diseases, who redeemeth thy life from destruction, who crowneth thee with loving kindness and tender mercies, who satisfieth thy mouth with good things, so that thy youth is renewed like the eagles. The Lord executeth righteousness and judgment for all that are oppressed. I'll read that one more time. The Lord executeth righteousness and judgment for all that is oppressed. He made known his ways unto Moses, his acts unto the children of Israel. The Lord is merciful and gracious, slow to anger, and plenteous in mercy. He will not always chide. He will not always rebuke or scorn. Neither will he keep his anger forever. He hath not dealt with us after our sins, nor rewarded us according to our iniquities. For as the heaven is high above the earth, so great is his mercy towards them that fear him. As far as the east is from the west, so far hath he removed our transgressions from us. Verse 13, like a father pitieth his children, so the Lord pitieth them that fear him. For he knoweth our frame. He knoweth our frame. He remembereth that we are dust. As for man, his days are as the grass, as a flower of the field, so he flourisheth. For the wind passeth over it, and it is gone, and the place thereof shall know it no more. But the mercy of the Lord is from everlasting to everlasting upon them that fear him, and his righteousness unto the children, unto children's children. To such as keep his covenant, and to those that remember his commandments to do them. The Lord hath prepared his throne in the heavens, and his kingdom ruleth over all. Bless the Lord, ye angels, that exalt in strength, that do his commandments, hearkening unto the voice of his word. Hearkening unto the voice of his word. Bless ye the Lord, all ye his hosts, ye ministers of his that do all his pleasure. Bless the Lord, all his works, in all places of his dominion. Bless the Lord, O my soul. Selah and Selah. Amen. You know, history is something that just happens by accident. You know, we all are a product of the history that our ancestors, our forefathers went and chose. You know, in Ecclesiastes chapter 1, the 9th verse, it talks about, and I'm going to paraphrase it because it's a popular saying, but there's nothing new that's underneath the sun, and there's nothing old that's underneath the moon. You know, the things that are down here that's on this planet Earth is a microcosm of things that existed way before even the Lord went and knelt down and put his hands in the soil. It made man. You see, you even read, in Psalms 103, we read about how he talked about the ministers, how it talked about the hosts, how it talked about, you read in the scriptures, how it talked about the ambassadors, about the ministers of fire, the appointed officials in the kingdom in which he rules. The kingdom in which he rules. It talked about the dominion, right? And we cannot talk about kings, rulers, and what's the name of the time? Kings, rulers, and leaders. We can't talk about that without talking about politics, right? I feel like you guys kind of know where I'm going, but I'm not gonna go there like that. But you cannot talk about the kings, the rulers, and the leaders without talking about the politics, right? What is politics? Should I engage you guys now? Should I? Yeah, go on the mic. What's politics?
So politics, poly as in multiple, ticks as in bloodsuckers. Bloodsuckers.
This is why I love Ezekiel. I love that he was eager to go up because Ezekiel he's the smart one. He knows all the technical terms, right? So what was that, Ezekiel? You said poly is multiple, ticks, bloodsuckers. Multiple bloodsuckers. Vampires, right. When they talk about werewolves and vampires on the scriptures too, and you wonder where they are, right? You know, things is not just what we see with our naked eye, but there's so many things around us that move spiritually. You know, it talks about the spirit and how it moves and how the spirit quickens the flesh, right? Your flesh is not going to move unless the spirit quickens it to move. You understand? And there's so many different influences around us, and you got to be cognizant of these things. What quickens your spirit to move, right? So what is politics? I love Ezekiel's definition. Bloodsuckers, vampires. But if he was to get into a real good definition, or should I say Webster? I didn't look on Webster. But the activities associated with governing a country, or governing a land, or governing a people or city, right? That's politics. And for men that is on earth, you know, it's the conflict between different parties in order to receive power, right? And I love that Ezekiel, I like that we prefaced it by that. Bloodsuckers, right? It's all about the achievement and the desire of power. You know, someone told me a while ago that it's not about the money. It's never about the money. It's always about the power, right? And you see even in politics, it's not about the money. They print the money. It's not about the money. They have the money. It's about the power, right? I mean, it is about the money, you know. If you don't have the money, it's about the money, you know. But even in that, you want the money. Why? Because of what's associated with the money, because of the power that it brings. If there was no money in the power, you wouldn't want the money. You understand? They wouldn't want. It's not about the money, but it's about the power. You see how men, they try to control so many different things, from the time to the calendars. They try to control certain policies that you see. They always try to control the people. It's always trying to control the people, right? Because there is power in that. There's power in being able to lead the people and to influence the people, right? And what's that power? What did Uncle Ben say? He said, with great power comes what? Great responsibility. He stole that from the Bible. They stole everything from the Bible. In Luke chapter 12, verse 48, it reads, for whosoever much is given, of him shall be much required. And to whom men have confirmed much, of him they will ask the more. Right? What does that tell you? Same thing I just said. The more influence that you have, the more responsibility, the more influence you have, that's a powerful thing to have, right? Because you see, even in the scriptures, I love history, and we're going to get into the scriptures, and we're going to get into, you know, the history of our people, because we're blessed to be in a time, you know, where we have the Bible to reference all these stories and to make cross-examinations between all these different things. Like I said in the beginning, there's nothing new underneath the sun, and there's nothing old underneath the moon. Everything that you see now has been here from generation to generation to generation. You see the same recycling of the same spirit from the beginning of time, right? So that is what men do. Men want power, and then power, what? It corrupts, right? Power corrupts men. It's going to corrupt men. How can it not corrupt men? I think about, you know what I think about when I think about power corrupts? I think about the first one that got corrupted. I think about Lucifer. And he was perfect. You understand? People like to talk down on Lucifer and, you know what I'm saying, get behind me, Lucifer. What did they say? I rebuke thee. Get behind me, Lucifer. You can imagine what he's doing. He's not even there. He's busy, man. I'm telling you, he's got a busy schedule. He's allocating responsibilities, different demons. You understand? He's in constant war right now. He's a war general. He's the chief of commander of his army. You understand? When he came down here with the third. He's a chief of commander. Lucifer would get behind me. People don't understand who they're talking about when they're talking about certain spiritual influences, right? When they talk about Lucifer as an influence, right? Because Lucifer is a very influential individual. Let's actually read about Lucifer, matter of fact. Let's go to Ezekiel chapter 28. Just to give some context. I love giving context. You know, I'd never like to assume that everybody is on the same page. You know, there's so many things to learn in this life. And a lot of times when you read the scriptures, it says to edify yourself in the scriptures and to continue and to meditate on it. You know, because you can't just read it once and get everything you need to get out of it once. You have to continue to meditate on that and continue that in your regiment, right? So Ezekiel 28. We're going to go to verse 12. Right? So it refers to him as the son of Tyrus, right? So chapter 28, verse 12. Son of man, keep up a lamentation upon the king of Tyrus, and say unto him, thus saith the Lord God, thou sealest up the sum full of wisdom and perfect in beauty. Right? Know who we're talking about. They're using, look at these adjectives that are being used. Perfect in beauty. Verse 13, thou hast been in Eden, the garden of God. Every precious stone was thy covering. The Sidious, the topaz, I know my pronunciation, it's Ebonics. You know, you reading it with me. And the diamond, you know that one. The diamond, the beryl, the onyx, the jasper, the sapphire, the emerald, right? The gold. The workmanship of thy tabrets and of thy pipes was prepared in thee in the day that thou wast created, right? So just to pause there, I think that's interesting too, when thou was created. Like there was a beginning to Lucifer, right? And when we speak about our Heavenly Father, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, he is the beginning and the end. You understand? Like he is the creator. People always fall into that same, like I said, that same spirit of worshiping the creation as opposed to the creator. Lucifer, it says right here, on the day of his creation, right? What verse am I at? 14? Thou art the appointed cherub of the covereth. Thou art the appointed cherub that covereth, and I have set thee so. Thou wast upon the holy mountain of God. Thou hast walked up and down the midst of the stones of fire. Up and down. Willy-nilly, he up and down. Remember the story of Job and he's just there? Amen. He was able to cause a bet with the God of Israel. He just there, man. He's just there. He was appointed. You understand? Like what's there can't be taken like that. He was created to be to have this type of authority, right? So verse 17, thine heart was lifted. 15, sorry. This is the last one. Thou wast perfect in thy ways from the day that thou wast created. Till what? Till iniquity was found in thee. So even Lucifer, right? And we are less than. And we are less than. Even Lucifer, who was made perfect. Does that feel like morbid? Like you can't escape that? You know, it talks in the scriptures about sowing into the flesh. Like we're tied to something that is a polar opposite to where the spirit is supposed to be taking us. And when I say the spirit, again, I'm saying there's multiple spirits, but the spirit of, when we talk about life, we talk about the living waters, the spirit of everlasting life, that spirit. So power corrupts, right? And corrupted power, and we read about it, well, I referenced it in Psalms 103, where it talks about the oppressed. The God is always referencing the oppressed, right? He's always on the side of the underdog. And power, corrupted power, always oppresses the people. And systems of oppressions are very durable. And they reinvent themselves all the time. You understand? And you see that all throughout history. You know, I was watching this documentary on Netflix called The 13th. Anybody seen that? That documentary called The 13th? You seen that, Tashiro? You seen it? So basically, to kind of run through, because it's not about that, but just the idea of, so it's talking about, so in America you have the amendments. 13th Amendment being, that's why it's hence the name 13th. The 13th Amendment being that no man is going to be a slave. You can't enslave another human being unless he's a prisoner, right? And using that clause to reinvent how slavery was from when we came out of that rebellion of the cotton picking and we were free. Then you had the Jim Crow era. Then you have all these different elements and different like structures used against you, right? And you see that oppression being reinvented. And it's reinvented. So as soon as they got out of slavery, what do you think the first thing they did? They rounded up everybody, put everybody in jail. You little boy, you see the pictures, little boys with pickaxes. And you get that free, and it's that free labor, right? It's that free labor because the prison system is very much entrenched in the economy in America, right? It's one of the largest industries. And they provide so much free labor, so much money, right? It's all about, and this goes back to what we're talking about, power, right? They have the power to what? They corrupt that power, and what do? They oppress the people with the power that they have. So you look, and you can see that even for today. And you see, and I call it like the dual thrones of the Republican and the Democratic parties. It's a dual thronemanship. Because they really, if you know the history, and I ain't going to get into the history, but if you do the history, they're really the same guy. You know? They're really the same guy. Like, they take turns, you know? They like buddies, man. It's giving this illusion of choice in a way. You understand? And it's crazy how people can bring themselves to do these type of things. Right? So if we was to talk about the Republican and the Democratic, I ain't gonna get too into it because I've never voted before. Anybody who's voted here? Who's voted? You voted? You voted? Oh yeah, we talked about that. You voted that one time. That voted. Yeah, I've never voted before. I never got the opportunity. But you see that collective with them is always trying to divide and conquer tactic. So collectively, they operate as a unified or united system, right? And the system that is influenced more by corporate power. You see the lobbyists. And you see how that plays into a lot of different policies that is put in place, right? It's called a multidisciplinary approach. That's what they call it. Multidisciplinary approach. It's drawing from, there's so many different professions that they have. There's so many different academic disciplines, is what I call them. You know, you have political science, you have history, you have sociology, you have psychology, you have theology even, right? All these several types of academic disciplines that is used, these professional specializations, used to manipulate public perception, used to exploit the identity of the people, foster false loyalties, all for what? All at the expense of the people, of your children. That's really what it is, because we're only here for a short time. You read how we just dust. So really exploiting not just you, but your children. So let's break it down. Let's break it down. So I can argue that the U.S. political system, through its two-party structure, you know, it functions as a mechanism to consolidate power, to serve corporate interests, rather than serving of the people. And you see in Israel, in our history, how that centralization of power structure is used throughout our history. Go ahead, Ezekiel.
You know, Chris, yeah, I really like the topic. Because even hearing you speak about all of the power, what you're describing, like, I remember the other day I was really like researching into the power of a politician. And just like imagine to have the ability to shape and structure the society. You decide what policies are put in place. You formulate what businesses thrive and what businesses die. Like it's insane. It really is insane. And even speaking about the psychology and the other aspects of the economy, like it's a really like world that's thriving off of power, especially when it comes to like the whole prison system and looking at how it's all thriving off of money. And you see how money influences a lot of the decisions that are being made within our society today. And I like how you're even going into how those politicians or the politics how we can go back into structuring what we see or the perception of us as a people. Having the guise of imprisonment, which is a good example. Saying the war on drugs and then enslaving everyone that looks like you and I, just to get a free profit out of it. That's a lot of power, man. Just to be able to do that anytime. If life is a game, then a politician is the game master. Is what it looks like at this point. It's like you're formulating all the rules. Just now, like 5 minutes ago, I was watching a video of Donald Trump, and he was talking about the war on drug cartels. He's like, I'm going to unleash everything. I'm going to talk to the U.S. Navy. We're going to go covertly, overtly. I'm going to get them cyber attack, all the attack. We're going to come with the Mexican government. Such an upstanding man, wonderful. We've done it before. We'll do it again. We will solve this problem. And who knows what that means at this point? That's ambiguous. How far are we going to go when it comes to solving this war on the cartel? Who's going to be involved? What families will get destroyed? What weapons and military force will I be using? Or will he be using? Who's involved? It could be you. You never know until it actually happens.
Right.
But that's just like you're in the middle of It's crazy.
It's crazy.
And he said I'm going to use the full force and inflict maximum amount of pain and damage. That's the politician speaking too, so it's actually madness, But yeah, man.
Yeah, you see, go ahead, Auntie Sophie. I want to hear what you got to say.
Okay, so with the topic, I'm thinking about, how was it before Israel? Because looking at the politics that's happening right now in the world and being who I am and learning what I learned coming into the Israelite nation, it's like you itemize the politicians, like, this one is for me, this one is not for me, I agree with what this one is saying, but I don't agree with this one is saying. But then the jail system is filled with but then this one wants to take us out of the jail, but they're under the same system. So it's never going to be for us. Like, even if you look at what's happening right now, and this is what got me a little bit upset with what's going on right now in the world. And as a mom with all our young boys, and I'm always thinking about that, our young boys, and the one thing collectively we agree with is don't mess with our children's mind. Once you mess with their mind, you get them to do whatever you want. So that's why the jail is filled with them, because again, it is power. And because we don't understand the power and they understand our power, so they use that power against us. Like right now, what they stood for was legalizing weed. Oh my gosh, how many moms' fathers' hands up is like, no, take that away, really and truly, from our children, because it's just going to get them back into the system a different way. But for us, we're thinking this one is for us, but they're never going to be for us because they're under the same system. We don't have the power of this land right now. We don't have it. So whatever the things we eat, the things that makes us thrive, the thing that gives us prosperity, they will never give that to us because they don't want us to be more. We need to stay exactly where we are so they could prosper. And I wouldn't have seen that if I wasn't in the Israelite nation, really and truly, because you're thinking you're going to this denomination and this one is for me, but at the end of the day, they're all under the same umbrella. So they're never going to be for me until I figure out what is for me.
Yeah, what is for you is definitely not that. They're definitely not for you, both of them. None of them are for you. They're both against you. They share in certain interests. You see the interests that they align in. And they use polarizing. It's interesting that you even bring that up because they use these tactics, right? It's all tactics, polarizing, conversations about abortion, about, weed, about all these different type of things to bring you so you don't really see what they really all share, how all their interests are aligned. You understand? And it's been that way from the beginning. And you got to look at the foundations of these things. I don't say do the research on where these parties even come from. And I'm not even going to talk about the third party because they're losers. I was talking to my sister, and I was like, did the third party, have they ever won? She was like, no, they've never won. I'm like, why they really just taking resources away just so they can continue to play their game. It's just so interesting. It's interesting to look at, right? I can never speak in absolutes, but it's definitely something to look at and to analyze, and definitely to Auntie Sophie's point, looking through that lens of, spiritually what is happening. Spiritually what is happening around. What is the foundations? The foundations of things is very much important, right? The beginnings of things is very much important, of cultural practices, of groups that come together. Like, what are the origins? What was the mission statement? What's the mission of this group? You understand? It talks about the foundation. If you was to go to Luke chapter 6, verse 47, just to get an idea, just so we could really formulate this. So, verse 47, chapter 6. Whosoever cometh to me and heareth my saying and doeth them, I will show you to whom he is like. I'll show you to who he is like. He is like a man which build a house and diggeth deep and laid the foundation on a rock. And when the flood arose and the stream hit vehemently upon the house, because it will happen. The stream will come because it rises and it falls and it rises back again, right? That's the course and how life works. That's the law of the land, so to speak. And the stream beat vehemently upon the house and could not shake it, for it was founded upon a rock. Verse 49, but he that heareth and doth not is like a man in which the foundation built a house upon the earth, against that which the stream did beat vehemently, and immediately it fell. And the ruin of that house was great. So the foundation will either keep or destroy the house, right? So what are the foundations of the house? Of the house of the U.S. government, of the house of the Canadian government, all these powers, the European, the French, the house of Egypt, really, because it's that same spirit, right? What is the foundations of the house of Egypt? And again, you see where all the interests lie with all these different groups. It's all the same, and it's all to oppress the people, right? Oppress the people, and you got to look at the people. And who are the people that's being oppressed? Because it talks in what Psalms? It talks about the oppressed and how the Lord will be with them. So who is being oppressed? So historically, we can look at the monarchy of Israel and how that was put together and how that shifted from us having a spiritual government to us wanting to have a physical government, right? And to get ourselves involved in the politics of man, okay? Another important question too, so there's key figures here, right? So we have Saul, we have David, we have Solomon, we have Ahab, you have all these different figures, right? And then you see how a lot of these, even within our own, you see how the leaders are often swayed by personal interests, ambitions, foreign alliances, the influences of their advisors, and it results at the consequence of the nation. The nation always suffers. The people always suffer. And then we have our prophets, the ambassadors, right? The ambassadors of the spiritual government of the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And what do we do to those ambassadors? Let's go to, in New York and New Jersey, I got to shout out Priest Kurt because he had this series. I always reference him as my first teacher. Him and Priest Jeffrey. They're my first teachers. I put them there. They taught me about God as a child, right? They're one who really gave me the conceptualized idea of what it means to be an Israelite, what it means to have that relationship with the God of Israel, right? So I think of them in that regard, like these guys taught me about God, And then you have our elder Shadrach, he taught them about God. So through grace, you understand, you see how everything works. right? And everything is intentional. But Priest Kurt, he had this series he was doing in Jersey called the Game of Thrones. That's when the Game of Thrones was popping. That's when you were sitting there every Sunday waiting. That show was fire. You went and subscribed to the HBO. You never had HBO before, but you went and subscribed to HBO for the Game of Thrones. That's when Game of Thrones was popping. And he had this series called The Game of Thrones, where he was going through the story of the kings in the Bible. And it's really a movie. It's a movie, how we are. And you can see, if you look at these people and you see yourself in them, you'll see, like, they act like how black people act. So I want to go to 1 Kings chapter 12. So just to give some context here, right? So Lena, actually let's read the first verse. So this is following Solomon's death, right? And his son Rehoboam is ascending to be king, right? He's in that position. He's ascending to the throne. So verse 1 says, and Rehoboam went to Shechem, for all Israel were come to Shechem to make him king, right? I feel like I need more context. All right, so I always love to start at Egypt. I know that's mad far, but Egypt is really the foundation because it's a pivotal part in our history, right? This is the part where the God of Israel, he really claims these people. He claims us, you understand? And he's giving us the laws, the statutes, and the commandments. And you see how the culture is shifting, how the culture is changing, how things is being revealed to that child. You see it like a father and a child, like he's a baby, and certain things you expose him to as a child, and then he becomes an adolescent, and then you start bestowing more gems to your child, right? It's to that point in our history as children of the God of Israel that our Father went and gave us the laws, the statutes, and the commandments. You understand? So we came out of Egypt, and we were in that wilderness period. And the migration of the Israelites, Moses, of course, he went and led them. And we went in our conquest of Canaan. We went in the wilderness for 40 years. We were dwelling in the wilderness for 40 years. And then our conquest of Canaan came. So after the wilderness period, the Israelites, led by Joshua, they began to settle in Canaan. You had Joshua in the Battle of Jericho, and you see the military campaigns that is happening, right? You got to make it so real. Like the military campaigns that is happening and what's happening around us as well. So everybody knows who we are, how we come in. They heard about Egypt. When you think about Egypt and the spirit of Egypt, you got to think about America to make it tangible for you. Like they are the top dog. When you want to learn about mathematics and science and all these different things, all these high academic doctorates and master's degree, you go to Egypt to do these things. And if America was to fall, everybody's going to know about it. You go on America, I'm here in Canada, in Toronto, Canada, and I turn on the news. I don't see no Canadian news. I see all American news. I don't see nothing about nothing. They always talk about, like, oh my God, somebody died. In Baltimore? What? Why is that? What? I'm thinking this in like Mississauga or so, but it's just like, oh, Detroit, why are you telling me about that? Everybody knows what happens when you're at the top of the top, right? So everybody knows us. Everybody knows how we come in and what happened, right? And the fear that happened, because that's a great nation. Right? Egypt was a great nation, right? So we're in Canaan, and you see how we interact with all these different nations that are around in Canaan, right? The Canaanites, the Philistines, the Jebusites, right? And then you see the formation, right? The formation of Israel really becoming in its tribal confederacy, I should say, right? Gradually developing itself to have more of a political presence. And then we have the time of Saul, where Israel wanted to have an actual physical and tangible king. And so they went and they elected Saul. And that was an example for all of us as far as who should you put your trust in? Who really has that power at the end of the day? Because who's appointing who, right? He doesn't have no power unless the power is given to him, right? But where does the power come from, though? You understand? So getting up until this point, so then we have Solomon, and poor old Solomon went and got corrupted. And should we read about Solomon? Nah, we'll get to there. So we get to Solomon, right? And Solomon, he's a wise king, but at the end of his life, he decides to build idols for all his girls, all his wives. He's, you know what I'm saying? He's trying to impress. I don't know what happened. I don't know how he was raised. Really and truly, like, who raised you, man? Like, how you let that happen? But you see the consequences of these actions, right? So let's continue. Actually, let me go ahead and reference that. Let's go to 1 Kings. So let's see what the beginning, right? So we talk about Solomon, right? So 1 Kings chapter 11, before we go back. 1 Kings chapter 11, verse 11. It reads, "Wherefore the Lord said unto Solomon, For as much as this is done of thee, and thou hast not kept my covenant and my statutes, which I have commanded thee, I will surely rend the kingdom from thee and give it to thy servant." Verse 12, "Notwithstanding in the days I will not do it for David thy father's sake, but I will rend it out of the hand of thy son." Verse 13, "Howbeit, I will not rend away all the kingdom, but will give one tribe to thy son of David, my servant, for my servant's sake, and for Jerusalem's sake, which I have chosen." So we're at this point, right? And Rehoboam, the son of Solomon, is now at this point where he is being appointed king. So we'll go back. We'll go back to 1 Kings chapter 12, right? So verse 1, "And Rehoboam went to Shechem, for all Israel were come to Shechem to make him king," right? "And it came to pass, when Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, who was yet in Egypt, heard of it, for he was fled from the presence of King Solomon, and Jeroboam dwelt in Egypt." Now, who's Jeroboam? Who knows? Who's Jeroboam? Before we even talk about, because it's important to know who he is and why it even matters that he heard about it. Everybody heard about it. But why does it matter that he heard about it, though? And he was dwelling in Egypt, where he fled. Where did he flee from? What was he running from? So for those who, should we go there? We should go there. We should go there. Let's go there, man. Let's go there. So you have Jeroboam, right? And he was a servant. So this is the key point here, because I actually have a lot to go over. But this is the key point here about Jeroboam. So Jeroboam, he was a servant of King Solomon, right? And he was highly favored because he was very good at his job. And King Solomon knew of this. And so he appointed him. He gave him a position, right? He was in charge of a lot of different departments. And then we had the prophet Ahijah, and he prophesied that Jeroboam would become king over 10 tribes of Israel. This is what he prophesied. And guess who heard about it? Solomon heard about it. So if I'm the king of all 12, and then the prophet is saying, okay, he's gonna rule over 10. 10, what the heck? If I do the math right, that just leaves me with 2. Oh, nah. So you already know what happens after that. Somebody has to try to kill somebody else. Somebody has to use that power to try to, for their own personal interests, right? So he tries to kill Jeroboam, and then Jeroboam went and he fled to Egypt, right? And now we're here at this point, now that Solomon is dead, and they hear that, okay, Rehoboam, he's about to be king now. Now Jeroboam heard about this. My op's dead. You understand? You see the interests of man? So now I'm going to come back in. He's not staying out now. Now I'm going to come back in. I heard that he's king. Let me go ahead and go back over there, right? So let's.
You don't need to rush. Elder Freddie says you guys will do a part 2 and 3.
Oh yeah? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah? Yeah. Oh, nice. Okay. Bet. Okay. Because I'm telling you, it's like a movie. When you read about it, and we're going to get into it when I get into it. So, right, let's go back to Kings chapter 12. So, verse 2. "And it came to pass when Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, who was yet in Egypt, right, heard of it, and for he had fled from the presence of King Solomon, and Jeroboam dwelt in Egypt." Verse 3. And they sent and called him, and Jeroboam and all the congregation of Israel, came and spake unto Rehoboam, saying, thy father made our yoke grievous. Right? They feel oppressed. Thy father made thy yoke grievous. Now therefore make thou the grievous service of thy father. Make thou the grievous service of thy father, and his heavy yoke which he put upon us lighter, and we will serve thee. These are the current terms and conditions. Everybody came together collectively. Listen, this is what we want. We know you're new in charge. You already know when new people come in charge, there's always an opportunity for what? For new policies, new ideals. That's the hand of the king is going to be passed down to different people, and you see how it's different from one king that's 8 years old and he's a good king, and another king, he's a grown man and he can't follow instruction. You understand? So boom. So they came unto him, verse 5, and he said unto them, depart ye for 3 days, then come again to me. Right? So just give me 3 days. Let me think about this. I'm new. I just got here, bro. My father's dead. You understand? Just give me 3 days. And then I'll come back to thee. And they, the people, departed. Verse 6. And King Rehoboam consulted with the old men. I love how they call them the old men. Because what is that saying, calling them the old men? They have experience. They've been around. They were there when Solomon was alive. They probably was there when David was alive. You understand? They know the history. And with age comes a lot of wisdom. And the scriptures even talks about gray hairs and how that's like a crown on top of your head, right? So those of you who have the salt pepper, rock it with pride, you know? Yes, I see you shaking the salt. Yes, yes. It's like a crown on top of my head. You understand? I've been here. I have the experience. I have the stripes. So verse 6, and King Rehoboam consulted with the old wise men that stood before Solomon his father while he yet was alive, and said, how do we advise that I may answer this people? And they said unto him, saying, if thou wilt be, listen to what he's saying. And they said unto him, saying, if thou wilt be a servant unto this people this day, and wilt serve them. A king serving the people? You see how, let me finish what they're saying. I don't mean to cut you off, old men. If thou wilt be a servant unto this people this day, and wilt serve them, and answer them, and speak good words to them, then they will be thy servants forever. Right? You see how you have to be of service when you have, so again, when we talk about the power, you're giving the power, you are given the power, right? So you must be of service. You understand? For much that is given, much must be received. So they're telling him you have to be of service to the people. And in turn, they will serve you forever. It's like the relationship between us and the God of Israel. Talked about it in Psalms 103. The first thing it says, what does it say? Bless the Lord. How do you even bless the Lord? Bless the Lord, and what do you think he's going to do? He's going to bless you. Serve the people, and they're going to serve you. Right? Verse 8. But he forsook the counsel of the old men, which they had given him, and consulted with the young men that were grown up with him. So the young men that were grown up with him, so they know the same thing he know. Right? They know the same thing he know. So he went and consulted with the young men. So verse 8, and he forsook the counsel of the old man, which they had given unto him, and consulted with the young men that were grown up with him, and which stood before him. Stood before him. Not above him or underneath him, but before him, right? Verse 9, and he said unto them, what counsel give ye that ye may answer this people, who have spoken to me, saying, make the yoke which thy father put upon us lighter, right? And the young men that were grown up with him spake and said, saying, thus, thou shalt speak unto this people that spake unto thee, saying, thy father make our yoke heavy, but make thou it lighter unto us. thus shalt thou say unto them, my little finger shall be thicker than my father's loins. You already can tell. I can imagine the settings of this. They probably went out, they probably went out to eat, you know what I'm saying? You remember the scene from Paid in Full when it's all the guys around the table and they eat, and they probably eat, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, man, what I do? I went and talked to the old man, and he's saying I'm supposed to serve the people, man. Like, how that gonna make me look, man? You already know how I give it up, man. Man, dude, he probably eating some lamb. If it was me, I mean, this is how I say it, man. You want the yoke to be lighter, but my little finger's gonna be thicker than my father's loin. And his other man's be like, oh my God. You see the relationship. He's able to say that about that's his dad, man. That's his friends. He's able to say that. Hey, you should go ahead and say that. My little finger is gonna be thicker than his loin. You should say that. Pass me the lamb leg. You know what I'm saying? Oh, no, man. Okay, let's continue reading. What they say? What these young boys saying, man? You see the young haughtiness? You can tell these are young boys because they only care. Look what they're caring about. They putting it on the table. Yo, listen, man. You can't be, listen, you're new, brother. You're new. They coming to you and asking you to, come on, man. And look, let's relate this to today as well. So you see who's advising in his ear, right? So these guys are in the tribe of Judah. You understand? That Judah has the crown, has the scepter. So I can imagine in this time, if you're from the tribe of Judah, you're walking a little different. You're a little, you know what I'm saying? You probably dress a little bit different. You're from the tribe of Judah. The scepter is with Judah. They probably have their corporations together. They got money. They probably aristocratic. You understand? I don't care about the taxes. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna get paid regardless. You know what I'm saying? I don't care about the tax. You know what I'm saying? But this is what I would do. So let's go verse 11. And now, whereas my father did lade you, so this is what they're saying, right? So after you say, my little finger gonna be thicker than my father's loins. And now, whereas my father did lade you with a heavy yoke, I will add to your yoke. I will add to your yoke. My father hath chastised you with whips. What am I gonna do? I will chastise you with scorpions. He probably wrote that in there, chastise you with scorpion. After he said that, he went, ooh, write that down. Write that down. So you just say that. I don't even know how I came up with that. That just came in my head, man. I was freestyling that, but that's me. I'm just saying, I'm good regardless. We making money over here. We're good. We Judah, man. We making money. You the king. That's your problem. You understand? But they trying to take advantage of you, man. They look what they asking of you, brother. Like you see, it's the contest that's happened. You understand? So now he's saying, okay, my father, verse 12. So Jeroboam and all the people came to Rehoboam the third day, and the king was appointed, as the king had appointed, saying, come to me again the third day. 13, and the king answered the people roughly. Gangster. He answered them roughly and forsook the old man's counsel that they gave. So he's not going to be of service to the people because he's forsook that advice. And spake of them after the counsel of the young men, the young lion, saying, my father made you, look, he's saying what his friend said. My father made your yoke heavy, and I will add to your yoke. My father also chastised you with whips, but I will chastise you with scorpions. Verbatim, he said what his man said. He probably said it like how he just made that up. You know what I'm saying? I'll chastise you with scorpions. Like this is his own, you see the interest here that's playing out. You understand? And think about this politically as well. Like I said, his friends that is there, that is a part of his friend group, that is he would consider his peer, to even ask them, what should I do? You're not asking no regular guy, how should I deal with the people? You understand? They already have their own interests. They probably get in some of the tax money. Some of the tax money get into them. Man, you lower the tax, man? No, man, I'm trying to get a new chariot, man. Lower the tax? Nah, just tell them this is what you do. This is what you do. You understand? This is what he's saying. Right? So there's interest. You got to make it real. Like, what are the interests being played here? There's so many. Everybody has their own intentions. Everybody has their own intentions. You always got to ask yourself, why? Why do people do certain things? Why? Right? He's not just saying that just because he's a young dude and he just feels haughty. He probably has interest in that decision. Right? So verse 15. Wherefore the king hearkened not unto the people, for the cause was from the Lord. For the cause was from the Lord, that he might perform his saying, which the Lord spake by Ahijah the Shilonite unto Jeroboam the son of Nebat. And what did he say to him? He said what? That he's going to rule 10 kingdoms. So this is all being played. So Solomon was told that the kingdom will be taken from him, right? And this is further the disobedience. And has to happen in order for that. It's already said and done. Once the Lord says it, it's over. It's over. It's a wrap. Like, oh, he said it. It's coming out. You can't take it back. He's never taken it. Name one time the guy took anything back. Actually, that's not. I lied. He did this. I think this is the time he did take it back, when he wanted to kill everybody. Yes, when he wanted to kill all Egypt and said, Moses, I'm just going to start over with you. And I love that verse because Moses was like, hey, man, chill, man. Kill that. You went and brought them out of Egypt just so you could kill them again. Like, think about like Moses using his political head. He was in the crown. He was in the high places. So he thinking politically. Think of what they going to say, man. This is going to be crazy. You brought them out so you could kill them? What did he going to say? And what does it say? He went and humbled himself. He went and humbled himself. So, oh my God, the time is speeding. Jesus. All right, verse 16. So when all Israel saw that the king hearkened not unto them, the people answered the king, saying, what portion have we in David? Neither have we inheritance in the son of Jesse. We don't have nothing. To your tents, O Israel. Now see to thine own house, David. So Israel departed unto their tents. But as for the children of Israel, which dwelt in the cities of Judah, Rehoboam reigned over them. So he was good in his little vacuum, right? Verse 18. Then King Rehoboam set Adoram, who was over the tribute, right? So he's in charge of the tribute. He's in charge. All right, man, this is where we upping it 100%, man, 200%, man. They probably eating at dinner. Listen, man, this is what I need you to do. Go ahead. You know what I'm saying? It's that time. You're trying to collect this money. Just go ahead and collect the tribute from the people. You know what I'm saying? This is the first. Ooh, this is going to be a good score. Right? So the king went and sent Adorah, who was over the tribute. This is his job. You understand? He's just doing his job. And all Israel stoned him with stones that he died. They went and killed a messenger. It says a lot, right? And I bring this back to the prophets, right? So as king, you went and send your messenger. He's in charge of the tribute. You send him to the people. They say don't kill the messenger. Then what they do? They went and killed the messenger, right? You send in the messenger, man, here's the message. Here's a message with his dead body, actually. Here's our message to that. Went and killed the messenger. Like think about when the God of Israel went and sent his ambassadors, and you went and killed a messenger. What is that saying? So let's read forward, because like I said, what happens down here on earth is a microcosm of what happens in the heavens, right? So he sent his guy who's in charge of the tribute. They went and stoned him dead. Verse 18, therefore King Rehoboam made speed to get him up to his chariot to flee to Jerusalem. First thing he did, flee to Jerusalem. Verse 18, so Israel rebelled against the house of David until this day. And when it came to pass, when all Israel heard that Jeroboam was come again, that they sent and called him unto the congregation and made him king over all of Israel. And there was none that followed the house of David, but the tribe of Judah only. And when Rehoboam had come to Jerusalem, he assembled all the house of Judah with the tribe of Benjamin, 180,000 chosen men, which were warriors to fight against the house of Israel, to bring the kingdom again to Rehoboam, the son of Solomon. First thing he did, open the door, get the chariots, everybody. They playing with me right now. They went and killed a boy. That's my man. I sent him there. He's been collecting tribute from that long. You probably knew him. They went and killed him. First thing, let's get the chariots. Verse 22, but the word of God came unto Shemaiah, the man of God, saying, speak unto Rehoboam, the son of Solomon, king of Judah, and unto all the house of Judah and Benjamin, and to the remnant of the people, saying, thus saith the Lord, ye shall not go up nor fight against your brethren, the children of Israel. Return every man to his house, for this thing is from me. He's making the big call. I did this. This is my doing. This thing is of me. They hearkened therefore. Okay, they smart. Okay. They hearkened therefore to the word of the Lord and returned to depart according to the word of the Lord. And when Jeroboam, verse 25, then Jeroboam built Shechem in Mount Ephraim and dwelt therein and went out from thence and built Peniel. And Jeroboam said in his heart, after he went and built all of this, right? So he's probably expecting them to come. They went and killed the messenger. He's probably expecting them to come. They didn't come. He had enough time to go ahead and build up his little base, right? And he goes out, probably seeing because in northern Israel, you get the sea, right? You get the Mediterranean. They don't have that down south. You know, you get the sea. You control a lot of, again, politically, you're by the water. You control a lot of the ports. You know, there's a lot of money coming in, you understand? That's why they go there and they tax them like that, because they have that political influence, right? That political power, that economical power. So he goes out, and he says this in his heart. And Jeroboam said in his heart, now shall the kingdom return to the house of David. If this people, this is what he's saying in his head. If this people go up to do sacrifice in the house of the Lord in Jerusalem, then shall the heart of the people turn again unto their Lord. Unto their Lord. Look how this guy is talking. Even unto Rehoboam, king of Judah, and they shall kill me, and go again to Rehoboam, king of Judah. All right? So this is what he's thinking about. If they go to Jerusalem, which they have to go to, right? And you see when Israel is separated from the altar, you see how that corrupts. We'll see that in the end. How that just invites the spirit of confusion the further that you go from the altar. And look how it started. It started all in his head. He said, if they go over there to Jerusalem, I might lose the power that I have, the influence that I have over the people, because they'll be drawn back to their God. Their God. Look how they talk. Look how he's talking. And he's supposed to be king of this people. And they'll kill me. Okay, he's thinking about his life too. Fair enough. Verse 28. Whereunto the king took counsel and made, why do they always do this? And made 2 calves of gold and said unto them, it is too much of you. It's too much of you. Look at, you see how the propaganda, you see how everything is tied to how things are today. It is too much of you. Where am I? I lost myself.
Verse 28.
28. It is too much of you to go to Jerusalem. It's too much of you to go to Jerusalem. Behold thy gods, O Israel, which brought thee out of the land of Egypt. Verse 29, and he set the one in Bethel, and the other he set in Dan. And this thing became a sin. So you see how the power corrupted this man. Look how the power went and corrupted. And he had the people. Because think about it. Rehoboam initially, he was wrong. He was strong-armored them, talking about, listen, man, no, I'm not taking no yoke off. Matter of fact, it's going to be like scorpions. Actually, you think it's going to be easier? It's going to be rougher. It's a new king in town. It's me. I ain't my daddy. You understand? So you think about that. And then the people went and rebelled. They went and killed the guy. But they was like, they were oppressed. You understand? And he went and they appointed a new king. And what did he do once he had the power over the people? He thought about, how can I keep the power? How can I keep the power of the people? I got to keep them away from what gives them the actual power. I got to take them away from their God. And what does he do? He built 2 calves, and he put one in Bethel, and he put the other one in Dan. And this thing, verse 30, became a sin. He really didn't have to go this route. He really didn't. He didn't have to go this route. He could have brought them on the path of righteousness, but decided no. And this thing he did became a sin. For the people went to worship before the one, even unto Dan. Because it's too much for you to go all the way to just, it's right here. You know what I'm saying? Just walk down a couple blocks. And you could go ahead and get that same thing you was going to get in Jerusalem. Put some gold together. That's what the altar is anyway. Just put some gold together. Calf? Remember that? It's crazy. Verse 31. And he made a house in high places and made priests. And every time they talk about when they make their gods in high places and when they make their own priests, they always reference them like this. And made priests of the lowest of the people, which were not of the sons of Levi. The lowest of the people, he made them priests, not of the sons of Levi. Verse 32. And Jeroboam ordained, and it's funny, it's ironic, the month that we're in. You know, we just came out of Feast of Tabernacle, and we're in the 8th month, right? And ironically, look, 32, and Jeroboam ordained a feast in the 8th month. He ordained a feast on the 15th day of the month. Do we have any feasts in this time? We have nothing in the 8th? Nothing? Oh, he's doing his own thing? All right. Right? On the 15th day of the month, like unto the feast that is in Judah, like unto the feast that is in Judah. He's using what they taught him to do his own thing. So he's taking what is given to him, and what is he doing? He's corrupting it, right? And it plays, that same spirit that's going to corrupt that power is going to corrupt everything else in you, right? And you see how that spirit, it quickens that flesh. You understand? And he made a feast like unto the feast that is in Judah, like unto it. Not really it, but like it. And he offered upon the altar. He made an offering. So did he in Bethel sacrifice unto the calves that he had made. He made them. And he placed in Bethel the priests of the high places, which he also had made. Verse 33, so he offered upon the altar, which he had made in Bethel, the 15th day of the 8th month. How many days is that from now? Today is what? Of the 8th month. Even in the month which he had devised in his own heart, and ordained a feast unto the children of Israel, and he offered upon the altar and burnt incense. So you see in history, right? You see how there's nothing that's new underneath the sun, and there's nothing old underneath the moon. And you see how men come, and when they get power, and they corrupt, and you forget where the power initially came from. You know, all these kings have to be appointed in the name of what? In the name of who? The God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. And he talked about how that position, how it has to be, how it's exalted. That position is not just a position where, because you can affect the outcome of the people. And I'm a reference to what the old men said when he said, to serve the people and the people will serve you. Similar to us, how we will bless the Lord, and if we bless the Lord, then the Lord will bless us also. And in that, I give you peace.
Hello, hope you're enjoying the program so far. We're excited you've joined us for today's event. If this is your first time, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button. And don't forget to click the notification bell to be kept up to date with all the latest news. Also, take a second to like, comment, and share our videos. That's right, like, comment, and share our videos. We would really appreciate that. Also, we are really passionate about sharing our Israelite culture and would welcome your generosity in helping us to reach more people. So please feel free to leave us a donation. If you would like to learn more or are thinking about joining us, then please go ahead and fill out the form in the description box below, and a member of the Welcome Committee will be in contact. Thank you so much for your time, and I leave you with peace, love, truth, prosperity, and power.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Israelite Nation Worldwide Ministries. I am Elder Freddie. Before I begin, I'm just going to read a psalm. Help, Lord, for the goodly man ceaseth, for the faithful faileth from among the children of men. They speak vanity, every one with his neighbor, with flattering lips, and with a double heart do they speak. The Lord shall cut off all flattering lips, and the tongue that speaketh proud things. Who have said, with our tongue we will prevail, with our lips are our own, who is Lord over us? The oppression of the poor, for the sighing of the needy, now will I arise, saith the Lord, I will set him safely from him that puffeth at him. The words of the Lord are pure words, as silver tried in a furnace of earth, purified 7 times. Thou shalt keep them, O Lord. Thou shalt preserve them from this generation forever. The wicked walk on every side, when the vilest men are exalted. Selah and Selah. Amen. Welcome again to the Israelite Nation Worldwide Ministries. Before I begin, Christopher, where are you? Did he leave already? He just, as he would say, bounced. There he is. Christopher, please give him a round of applause. Please give him a round of applause. I don't think one session is enough to complete the subject matter of kings, rulers, and leaders as it pertains to us as a people, as it pertains to us as a nation, as it pertains to us in general. Because this is a subject matter that is a very deep subject matter. It's something that we really do have to dive into when it comes to dealing with kings, rulers, and leaders. It dawned on me because in light of what took place very recently, Elder Kistrilli will let you know that this past election of the United States of America, our closest neighbor, as they say, south of the border, I refer to that land as Egypt because that is Egypt. So Egypt elected a new king, a new Pharaoh. A new Pharaoh has arisen in Egypt, which seems quite ironic considering the circumstances of which this Pharaoh was just made Egypt again. We here at the Israelite Nation Worldwide Ministries know and teach that the United States of America is Egypt. It's an Egypt because, like the Egypt of old, it was built on the backs of our people. We built Egypt of old and we built Egypt of new. We were once in the land of Egypt. A lot of people don't understand, how is it you can equate the people in the Bible to be you people today? I think that is probably the hardest thing for people to understand. It is by far the most difficult things for people to get over and to try and understand. By the way, Granny, peace. Everyone, I want everyone to know that your Elder Harriet, our Elder Harriet, her mom has visited us again today. All right. I met you when you were here, and then when I went down to Barbados, and I was on your porch, and I looked out over the back, and I said, oh my goodness, you get to see the sunset. And she said to me, that house over there, that big one over there, that's Eddie Grant's house. And for those of us who are old school, we know who Eddie Grant is. Some of you young folks, your grandson, sorry, yeah, he don't know who Eddie Grant is. Man, Eddie Grant growing up in the days, for us, old heads, you can tell how old we are. But yeah, where you live, where's Elder Michael? Elder Michael, are you here? No, but you from St. Philip? Oh, man. If you don't in your life, you've missed out. But please try to make a trip to Barbados. You have to visit Barbados and go on the Sea Rock. You got to stand up on the Sea Rock. Right, Asher? Man, I love Barbados. And I can see why you always go and visit. It's not just the land, but it's family. So if you ever get the opportunity, please visit Barbados and make sure you stop by in St. Philip. We stopped by and she said, we're just going to get something small. Man, we left with trays. Joel was there. We left with trays. Oh my goodness. I miss it. There's something about when you go back home, for all of us from the Caribbean, and you're surrounded by salt water, and you can take off your shoes. Just take off your shoes and go barefoot and walk on the, let's just let your toes sink into your mother's land. Although it's not the land from which we came, it's close enough. It's a close proximity. And you let the grass and the sand and everything sink into your toes and walk barefoot in your mother's land. Culture. Culture is what we talk about. Culture is what we deal with. Culture is who we are. Who would have thought that in a million years, the culture of who you are, you children of slaves, you people of the diaspora, who would have thought that this was your culture? You would not have dreamt that this Bible, from 66 books, Genesis to Revelations, it's you, your culture, your people. So we're going to talk about our culture today. We're going to talk about our culture. Because like I said, they had an election of the new Pharaoh in Egypt. Egypt is always very important to us. I want you to know that. Egypt is important to us. If you think Egypt, think slaves and slave master. And that's where you get Egypt from. Because Egypt made us slaves. But before we were made slaves, we had a very close connection and a close tie. Do you know that there is very, very, very thin and small difference between Babylon and Egypt? How many people know that? How many people know that? Let me get a show of hands. 1, 2. Maybe 2.5. What is the connection between Egypt and Babylon? Slavery? Anything? Rulers? Philosophy? The difference is there's no difference. Because according to our scriptures, according to our book, it says that Cush, everyone should know, Cush, the son of Ham. Ham, black people. Everybody should know that, right? So Ham's descendants established Babylon. They established Babylon by somebody by the name of Nimrod, son of Cush. Isn't that interesting? So here you have Assyria, Babylon, Egypt down here, and Israel in between. From day one. From day one. From day one. You couldn't look and tell the difference between us and Egyptians. You couldn't look and tell the difference between us and Assyrians and Babylonians because we all looked the same. We all had a similar culture. We were all basically the same people. So, when we go to the book of Genesis, and I have to say this, and I'm going to continue to say this throughout. Thank you, Elder Shadrach. Thank you so much for all that you have done, all that you continue to do, all that you have taught us about ourselves. About ourselves. And most importantly, you taught us the name of our God. That is most important. The God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. And some people would stop at that. Some people would stop at that and not know that our culture is so pivotal to who we are. It is so important to who we are and what we are. That separates us from everyone. And I mean when I say everyone. Some people look at us, and because we're black and we talk about the Bible and we talk about the people in the Bible being black, they automatically assume that we are Hebrew Israelites. We are not Hebrew Israelites. We are not. Because we have culture. And our culture is not just Passover. Because some of them, that's basically all they know is something called Passover. Let me do this before I get into too much. Because I can get pretty passionate. I get passionate here. I'm going to go to Genesis. I love going to Genesis. Genesis is my favorite book. Well, it's hard sometimes. You got 66 to choose from. But Genesis chapter 49. We're going to go to Genesis chapter 49. Because what I need to do is I need to lay some groundwork. I need to lay the foundation when we talk about kings, rulers, and leaders. We have to lay the groundwork. Because most of us, if not all of us, grew up being told that you were just black. That's all you are. You're just black. Black people. You have no history beyond when they took you and made you slaves. You have no foundation. You have nothing. That's all you are, is just black. But then you have some people that want to talk about, we were kings, we were queens, and Egypt is the first thing they come and say. But let's get into this. Genesis chapter 49 from the first verse. And Jacob called unto his sons and said, gather yourselves together, that I may tell you that which shall befall you in the last days. Gather yourselves together, and hear ye, sons of Jacob, and hearken unto Israel your father. So Israel is not a land. Israel is not a land. Jacob and Israel are the same person. This man, our forefather Jacob. When we say the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob, you know specifically as to who he is the God of. Because he tells you in his name. God in this Bible says that I am the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob, meaning I am not the God to the entire world. I am not a universal God. I am not a God that anyone can just call on. I am the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. And if you are not of these people, I am not your God. He is not your God. And we need to understand this. This is pivotal for your understanding of the scriptures, because God does not love everyone. He doesn't. If he did, it would have been here somewhere in this Bible. It would have been. But this is why we are going into the foundation. This is why we are going into the foundation. We have to go into the foundation, because everybody reads the Bible nowadays. But if someone is reading the Bible to you and teaching you from the scriptures, and he is not or she is not a member of this Israelite Nation Worldwide Ministries, you are being lied to. You are. And I will prove it. Not me, the book will prove it. Let's go. Reuben, thou art my first. Where's Reuben? Reuben, thou art my firstborn, my might. Jacob had how many sons? How many sons did Jacob have? 12 sons and one daughter. So 12 sons. This is foundation. People like to believe they know the Bible, but this is foundation that you must know. Reuben, thou art my firstborn, my might, and the beginning of my strength, the excellency of dignity and the excellency of power, unstable as water, thou shalt not excel, because thou wentest up to thy father's bed, then thou defilest thou it. He went up to my couch. This is our forefather, Reuben, the firstborn of our son, of our father Israel. Don't shake your head just yet. Reuben. Simeon and Levi are brethren. Instruments of cruelty are in their habitations. O my soul, come not thou into their secret, unto their assembly. Mine honor, be not thou united, for in their anger they slew a man, and in their self-will they digged down a wall. Cursed be their anger, for it was fierce, and their wrath, for it was cruel. I will divide them in Jacob and scatter them in Israel. These are the sons, this man's sons. He is about to give up the ghost. He's about to pass on. So he has brought his 12 sons, and now he's blessing his 12 sons. This is culture. He is blessing his children and telling them what? Because we know, what are the two most spiritual times of your life? At birth, because you can't remember anything. Thank God. Thank God you don't remember a thing at birth. Sorry, yes, except for one. Only one amongst the people. And at death. So he has called his sons. Come, my sons, and I will tell you. We're on to we're going down to son number 4. It says here, Judah, thou art he whom thy brethren shall praise. Thine hand shall be in the neck of thine enemies. Thy father's children shall bow down to thee. That seems a little weird. This is the 4th son, but the 4th son's name is Judah. And this is something very important for us to know and to remember. Judah is a lion's whelp. From the prey, my son, thou art gone up. He stooped down, he crouched as a lion, and as an old lion, who shall rouse him up? The scepter, this is very important, the scepter shall not depart from Judah, nor a lawgiver from between his feet until Shiloh come, and unto him shall the gathering of the people be. Very important for us to know this. When Christopher was up here, he spoke, and you read about Solomon, Solomon's son, Rehoboam, and you read about Jeroboam, right? And we read about what the sons, what should I say, what Jeroboam did and the decisions that he made. It's very important to know where these people come from. You see, Rehoboam was Solomon's son. He was to be the king. All of our kings are supposed to come from the tribe of Judah, according to this scripture. All of our kings. But it also says here, in this verse, the scepter shall not depart from Judah, meaning the rulership, the kingship, those that that's your job. That is what your tribe specifically is to be for. Until Shiloh come. Who is Shiloh? Who is Shiloh? Sorry, say again. Don't be shy. Don't be shy. Don't be shy. This is why you're here at the Israelite Nation Worldwide Ministries. And this is why we are the authority when it comes to teaching this book. Do you know how we gained the authority? Anyone know how we gained the authority of the Bible? Nobody knows, huh? Nobody knows. You see that I call him young man. My brother, Elder Adna, calls him the old man. But you see that young gentleman back there? Eating his watermelon and chilling. That's how we gain the authority, because we are students of Elder Shadrach. Diligent students of Elder Shadrach. We have been with Elder Shadrach for quite some time. I'm not going to say how long, because I would give away my age. Quite some time. Let's read this carefully, and I'll show you what my elder taught me. It says here, the scepter, meaning the rulership, shall not depart from Judah, meaning it will not leave Judah, nor a lawgiver. So the rulership and the giving of the law, the authority will not depart from the tribe of Judah until Shiloh come. I know that when you were a Christian, they told you that Shiloh was Christ. But what tribe was Jesus the Christ born from? Judah. So how can Christ come from the tribe of Judah? Right? Because until Shiloh come, and unto him shall the gathering of the people be. This is the question. This is the time that you have to ask, well, how many persons gathered our people that were not from the tribe of Judah? How many gatherings did we have throughout our history? How many times did we gather? How many times did we come together? Sorry? You know you shouldn't be answering any questions. You shouldn't be answering any questions, Shernette. Well, you're too smart. But that's what you get for being in this Israelite nation. So, Moses was a Shiloh. Moses was a Shiloh because he was not from the tribe of Judah, but yet the people were gathered unto Moses. And Moses led our people out of Egypt. And then when he did that in the wilderness, we set up a camp by the name of Shiloh. So, Shiloh a man, Shiloh a camp. Our first king was who? Who was our first king? I like saying that, you know. You don't know how it gives me shivers to say that. Our first king, our first earthly king was who? King Saul. What tribe was he from? He was from the tribe of Benjamin, another Shiloh. So you have Shilohs, they gather the people together. They're not from the tribe of Judah. Not from the tribe. If you were to even consider this, that Jesus the Christ gathered the people, did he really? Did he really gather the people together? Think of it. When Jesus the Christ walked the earth, how many people were in authority over him? They didn't recognize him as an authority because he was just a common person. He picked fishermen and guys cursing and swearing. There were a little small faction of people nobody knew about. There's a pocket of followers, but yet this man was doing miracles everywhere. He was healing the sick. He was making the blind to see, raising up the dead. And I think that was the straw that broke the camel's back when he rose the dead. When he rose the dead. Because that's when they said, that's when he got a lot of attention from people you don't want. Because they said, oh, he rose the dead. It's rumored. It's rumored that he rose the dead. Oh, we can't have this. We got to get rid of this dude. And by the way, we got to get rid of the dead guy that he just rose. So just to show you the type of people that we are. And you need to take that perspective when you read the Bible. These are not people you don't know. These are people you know. And I grew up in Jane and Finch. I know people like this. I grew up with people like this. You in the islands, from wherever you came from, you know people like this. Behave the same way. These are our people. And I'm not finished. But let's go back into this because we're only at Judah. We're only at Judah. Okay. It says here, so do we get an idea now of what Shiloh is? Yes. Shiloh is an Israelite that gathers the people together, but he is not from the tribe of Judah. The scepter shall not depart from Judah, nor a lawgiver from between his feet until Shiloh come. Understood? We're clear? For those of you out there in Cyberland, place some fires in the chat because you just learned something that you will not learn anywhere else. You will not, because everybody here thought that Shiloh was Christ. That's what we were all taught when we were raised as Christians. But no. You read it, right? Did you read it with me? And that's the difference, because when we teach, we let the Bible do the talking. We don't have to say much. You just step back and let it speak for itself, and you will see. But the only way, I remember we mentioned this, at Sabbath service, or I think it was either New Moon or Sabbath, that the only reason why we know and understand these things is because our close proximity to Elder. Our close proximity to Elder Shadrach. And when you leave the proximity of Elder Shadrach, and then you leave the proximity of this nation, your understanding starts to wane just a little bit. Like you don't become too strong in certain areas that you used to be in. And your confidence starts to shake just a little bit. It's kind of like what we read today. Thank you, Christopher. Because, as you said, there is nothing new under the sun and nothing old under the moon. Thank you, Christopher. There is nothing new. It is the same people from all those 1,000 years ago. The same people. The same spirit. Because spirits are always recycled. Same spirit. Especially those of us that are on the islands. Because you know them spirits can't swim. The spirit can't swim. Not across salt water. Oh, man. Whew. I hope we all get the understanding. Because we experience things in the islands that you might not experience as much here. But I'm going to tell you this. The spirits, the dopey, they don't know how to swim. The zombie, the ghosts, they don't know how to swim. So they stay right where they are. There's a boundary. Great gulf fixed. And just like in the Game of Thrones, no, not Game of Thrones, it was the Lord of the Rings, you shall not pass. You're staying right where you are. And you're going to recycle amongst all the people them. Boy, oh boy. We got a lot to learn, huh? All right. So let's just continue. It says here, from verse 11, binding his coals unto the vine and his ass's coat unto the choice vine. He washed his garments in wine and his clothes in the blood of grapes. His eyes shall be red with wine and his teeth white with milk. That is prosperity and richness of being chosen to rule over the people that God has called his own. So this is a foreshadow, because we are now in Genesis. We're in Genesis chapter 49. We haven't touched Exodus yet. So this is hundreds of years before the scripture you read today. This is taking place. This is telling you that we will have kings. We will have rulers. But at this point in time, it was this Jacob, the shepherd, his 12 sons, and all the people that are with him. And hundreds of years later, we will have kings. This is what this is telling you. It says here, Zebulun, and not only kings, but prosperity. We will be a nation, is what Jacob, Israel, is telling his sons. You don't see it now. A lot of times people don't see things. A lot of times, you don't see things, and then there's a knee-jerk reaction, and people react to things before you even know what's happening. I remember sitting in Concord years ago when Elder first introduced the Constitution to us. We must have been maybe about 20 people at most. Maybe 20 people at most. And Elder Shadrach wrote the Constitution of the Israelite Nation Worldwide Ministries. No one was with him when he envisioned. Without vision, the people perish. He envisioned the place that you are sitting in right now. Elder Shadrach saw this place where you are sitting, including the branches. We had no branches. We were only 20 people. But he saw and wrote the Constitution of the Israelite Nation Worldwide Ministries. And with the assistance of those that were around him, submitted that to Ottawa. Our Constitution. We are a nation within a nation. And so, we are not a church. We are the church. Our Constitution, at the time you submitted our flag. It wasn't this flag, but it was a rendition of the earlier rendition of this flag. And every flag afterwards is accepted. Down to the colors. Everything accepted by Ottawa. The panels accepted by Ottawa. Our pledge, our anthem, everything of ours is accepted by the government of Ottawa as an established nation. I want you to visualize who you are and what you are, because you are a nation. Amen. The Israelite nation is a nation. How many people can say that they have that? So when you talk about Elder Shadrach, make sure you say Mr. Mr. Elder Shadrach. And put your chest in it. A lot of people like, because people talk. And I can't say what I like to say right now, but people do talk stuff. But make sure you say Mr. Elder Shadrach Porter. If you want to get, you know what I'm trying to say? Because there are some people who talk. I would like to see how many of them wrote a constitution, wrote a pledge, wrote an anthem, designed the flag, thinking and knowing that a nation will be established one day. A nation with a governing body of 12. Of 12. Taken from the scriptures. It says here, Zebulun shall dwell at the haven of the sea, and he shall be for a haven of ships, and his border shall be unto Zidon. Issachar, you here? Is a strong ass couching down between two burdens, and he saw that rest was good, and the land that was pleasant, and bowed his shoulder to bear, and became a servant unto tribute. Dan, verse 16, shall judge his people as one of the tribes of Israel. Dan shall be a serpent by the way, an adder in the path that biteth the horse's heels, so that the rider shall fall backward. I have waited for thy salvation, O Lord. Gad is a troop. Gad, a troop shall overcome him, but he shall overcome at the last. Out of Asher his bread shall be fat, and he shall yield royal dainties. Naphtali is a hind set loose, he giveth goodly words. Joseph is a fruitful bough, even fruitful bough by the well, whose branches run over the well. The archers have sorely grieved him, and shot at him, and hated him. But his bow abode in strength, and his arms of his hands were made strong by the hands of the mighty God of Jacob. From hence is the shepherd, the stone of Israel, even by the God of thy father, who shall help thee, and by the Almighty, who shall bless thee with blessings of heaven above, blessings of the deep that lieth under the blessings of the breast, and of the breast, and of the womb. The blessings of thy father have prevailed above the blessings of my progenitors, unto the utmost bound of the everlasting hills. They shall be on the head of Joseph, and on the crown of the head of him that was separate from his brethren. Benjamin shall raven as a wolf. In the morning he shall devour the prey, and at night he shall divide the spoil. All these are the 12 tribes of Israel. And this is it that their father spake unto them and blessed them, every one according to his blessing, he blessed them. Now, I don't know about you, but I didn't see anywhere in here when it said that Levi is the Haitians. Did I miss something? I didn't see here where it says Judah is black Americans. What is the other stuff they have on the 12 tribe chart? Why? Why? No, you know what they said? They said because of the singing.
Yeah, the wolf.
The wolf howls.
Yeah.
So that's why.
And
They
use the wolf as their logo.
the sigil.
Yeah.
So Benjamin's the wolf. So in other words, Jamaican them a dog. Yeah. So it's not a good thing to be called. So we don't believe in the 12 tribe charts. It's stupidness. It doesn't exist. For anyone who thought, sorry? It's a sham. Because here's the ignorance of it. Thank you, Elder Michael. The ignorance of it is that when we as a people were taken as slaves from Western Africa, from that region, the majority, the bulk, the vast majority of us went to Brazil. Why is Brazil not in the 12 tribe charts? Like you would think that somebody would think, okay, well, let's make up a 12 tribe chart. Brazil had the most. And they didn't include Guyana, Elder, sorry. Why didn't they include Guyana? And wait, there's some other islands that they missed out on too. Is Cuba in there somewhere? How about Cuba? Cuba is like the largest island in the Caribbean. How could you miss Cuba? Aruba is tiny. Aruba is small. But at least they could have given them Benjamin or something. No. You see, it's just absolutely mind-blowing when you think of the amount of people that subscribe and believe in that 12 tribe chart. Sorry? Who came with? You have to, well, I don't want to say here, but you have to do some research on it. It's really not much research. It's a lot of you got.
Elder Michael and Officer Charmaine did a video on the 12 tribes chart.
That's true. That's true. So go into the catalog, and take a look at History Meets Prophecy. For those, we are live, correct?
Yeah.
Now, I would like to know because I like to do this, if anyone has. Did anybody come up with, because sometimes we got a lot of people coming into the chat. And if there's, check to see if somebody might have asked, made an inquiry, or maybe even wanted to stand in a soapbox, like a lot of people do. You know, you stand in a soapbox when you're watching something, rather than just being invited and, having a legitimate question people want to. No. Oh, so we're good today? All right, so we're good. All right, so I am now at verse 29. Verse 29. Let me go back to 28. All these are the 12 tribes of Israel. These are his 12 sons. And this is it that their father spake unto them and blessed them, everyone according to his blessing he blessed them. That's very important to know. It's very important to know. Everyone according to his blessings. You see, that's why there's an infamous phrase, stay in your lane. Stay in your lane. It's not a detriment to say something like that, but it's when you know your strengths and when you know who you are, be who you are. Be the best version of who you are. Because we all have different talents. We all have different abilities. We all have been blessed with gifts and blessings. It's up to you to find out what that blessing is. I'll tell you one thing. If you understand what it is that we teach here at the Israelite Nation Worldwide Ministries, believe you me, that is one of the greatest blessings that you can ever have. One of the greatest blessings that you can ever have is to understand this doctrine, because there are so many people on the planet who do not have not even the closest understanding, not even the faintest idea of this Bible. Of this Bible. Like, I would read, I would watch, I would see so many things that people are trying to find the African presence in the Bible. Like, literally, people are looking to find the black presence in the Bible. Well, all you have to do is go to Genesis. And God said, I'm going to make man from dirt. Well, if you make a man from dirt, what does he look like? Like, just think about it. When you make a man from dirt, anyone ever been in dirt? Not clay, not sand, not the white sandy beaches in Barbados. Granny, none of those beaches. Not sand, dirt. When you make a man from dirt, what does he look like? Why are you showing me pictures of white people? You see how that works? They can't teach you anything about the Bible until they show you a picture. And then you come along now, oh yeah, you don't understand the psychological effect that it has on you. That you will deny. You will flat out deny when the truth is right there telling you. But you're there looking for the black presence in the Bible. Maybe we'll find it's a Simeon. There was a guy named Simeon that came from, yes, and he held the cross for Jesus. There's this one black guy. There's this one black guy in the Bible that held the cross for Jesus. When it's telling you that Adam, the very first man that was created, looked like God. And if he looked like God, what does that tell you? Duh. This is the hardest thing for people to understand. The hardest thing. Because you tell them and you're like, oh, what? You? No. No. Yes. No. Yes. It's the hardest thing for people to come to grips with. And then when you take them through your book and you teach them who you are, teach them. Don't ever let them teach you or try to tell you something. You got nothing to tell me. You got nothing to say. I'm the Israelite here. I am the Israelite here, and I will teach you. You can't teach me anything from my book. This is an Israelite book through and through. Genesis to Revelations, Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, Acts, all the way to Revelations. all the Corinthians and the Galatians and all them people there. Every single one of them an Israelite. Not one of them is a Christian. Isn't that something? Isn't that something? You would think that the word Christian was all over this Bible. Every single where. You can only find that word 3 places. The word Christian is only in the Bible 3 places. Isn't that odd to you? Isn't that strange to you? Only 3 places. And it doesn't say that they are Presbyterian or Seventh-day Adventist or Anglican or Roman. The word Christian, only 3 places. And in every context, it is negative. It's never anything positive. It's never anything uplifting. It's never anything that you should be proud to say. If, as a matter of fact, the word means that you're retarded. The word Christian means retarded. Do your research. Do your studying, and you will never call yourself that again. Ever. Why would you call yourself that? Why? People, they wear it like a badge of honor, like it's something to be proud of. It's not anything to be proud of. Nothing. If you can find me where it says in the Bible that it says Christian, we'll read it, and you will see. You will see. It's never anything positive. It's like being called a nigger. Yes, I said it. That's the word. That's how it was being referred to. Because an Israelite would never call themselves a Christian. Never. Did Paul ever call himself a Christian? No. What did Paul say? I am an Israelite from the tribe of Benjamin. Down to his tribe, he told you. Do you know how important it is to be called an Israelite? To be who you are is so important. You're not just black. Black people. It's like you know, like sometimes you get phlegm in your mouth and you want to spit it out. It's like that's the feeling. You just want to spit it out. You don't want to. It's horrible, man. We're not just black. We are the children of the Lord God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. That's who we are. Kings, rulers, leaders. Let's get into this scripture here because the culture is so rich. It is so rich. It says here, and all these are the 12 tribes of Israel, and this is it that their fathers spake unto them and blessed them. Every one according to his blessing, he blessed them. And he charged them and said unto them, listen to this part. I am to be gathered unto my people. Bury me with my fathers in the cave that is in the field Ephron the Hittite. So you see this here? Very, very important. Extremely important. In the cave that is in the field of Machpelah, which is before Mamre, in the land of Canaan, which Abraham bought with the field of Ephron the Hittite for a possession of a burying place. How many years after Abraham is this? This is Jacob, Israel. So before him, his father was Isaac. And before Isaac was Abraham. And he is telling his sons, bury me in the place that my father Abraham bought. That place is where I am to be buried. Don't bury me anywhere else. And I am so proud to let everyone know that our elder Shadrach had the foresight to say that we as a people, the Israelite nation, worldwide ministries, must have our own burying place. And we do. We have our own burial place. And you could only be buried there if you are in good standings. So when you fight for your nation. You fight for who you are. You fight for what you are. You think this is a joke? We don't take the advice of the young men. We don't take the advice of the young men. We take the advice of our elders. Our elders.
Yeah.
Look to your elders because your elders know what is best for you. Because we have a vested interest in our future. Abraham had a vested interest in his future, so he bought a place for burial separate from everyone else. Separate from everyone else. And here you have it, all these years later, our forefather Jacob, Israel, telling his sons on his deathbed, I'm blessing you. These are the blessings that it will come upon you. Because he's at the height of his spirituality. And he has seen and he's experienced and he's seen what all these tribes, all my sons are going to go through. This is what all my sons are going to go through. This is the promise that was given to my father Abraham, saying, I will make you a nation. I will build you to become a nation. Walk throughout the land of Canaan. Walk up and down this land, because one day this land will be yours. This land will be yours. And this is what I want my sons to do. My people to do. This is a vested interest. So this is what he is. Yes, Elder Michael.
Just wanted to say that we do not die. We sleep. And when we awake, the journey continues. That's
Indeed.
about it. Those that are with us and physically will be with us spiritually in one accord.
Thank you, Elder Michael. Thank you. And this is why it's so important for us to know and understand, because we get caught up so much in the physical. We are spirit. You are a spiritual being, and you're having a physical experience right now. From the time that you were born, you're encased in this physical flesh, but you are spirit. It's so important for you to know that and develop your physical self, so that when you cross over, you know what to do and where to go. If you're not strengthening this right here, if you're not doing in the physical what you're supposed to be doing, when you cross over, there will be a great gulf fixed. A great gulf fixed, regardless of whether you are Israelite or not. Because the rich man was an Israelite. Lazarus was an Israelite. Both of them Israelites. But yet Lazarus was in the bosom of the Lazarus was in the bosom of Abraham.
Peace, brother, peace. I want to mention something. I like how you said we are just spiritual beings in a physical form. And a lot of times we, as humans and as Israelites and as people, we get so caught up in what's happening in this physical world without remembering that exact statement, right? So I feel like that should give us another level of confidence as we're here, as we walk amongst all these heathens and goofies outside. Like, they're goofs. They don't even know what's going on, right? And I really appreciate you, Priest Freddie, for mentioning that. Because even as the God of Israel said, fear not, for I am with you. So even though you can't see what's happening, that should give you all the power to achieve everything you need to do in this physical world, so that when you finish here, you're still left with that legacy and you're moving on to everything that's to come as spiritual beings. Indeed. So we have everything.
Indeed.
So it's up to us.
Thank you.
Peace. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Joel. Verse 31, is that where I'm at? And they buried Abraham. There they buried Abraham and Sarah his wife. There they buried Isaac and Rebekah his wife. And there I buried Leah. The purchase of the field and of the cave that is therein from the children of Heth. And listen to this. Let's read this here. And when Jacob had made an end of commanding his sons, he gathered up his feet unto the bed and yielded up the ghost. And he was gathered unto his people. Can you write it any better than that? You know what it's like sometimes when you're going to sleep at night and you know you just put that there. Some of us drink our tea or whatever. Some of us drink warm milk. You put that down. You turn over, go underneath the covers. You go underneath the covers. For me, I say the pledge before I go to sleep. And you just drift off into sleep. That's what he did. Let's read that again because this is so great. And when Jacob had made an end of commanding his sons, he gathered up his feet into the bed and yielded up the ghost and was gathered unto his people. And I believe he rested in peace. This is but a glimpse. As I said, we have to continue this because this is the foundation. This is the foundation of our kings, our rulers, and our leaders. And as we go along, you're going to find out exactly why it has to be. You can't deviate. There is no deviation. If you make a deviation from this blueprint, from the blueprint that has been structured, you will lose everything. You're going to miss everything. I don't care how much you read in this Bible, you're going to miss everything if you don't have the foundation of who our people are. And with that, I would say thank you so much for your time and peace, everyone.
Beat them small like the dust in the wind. Curse my God and I will